This is Robert Jordan, and I'll be demoing the project planning board that we implemented last week. And let me give you a little bit of a background on what we've done here. As an organization, we've grown, not only in the development team, but just as an organization overall. And to give support of not only the internal resources, but also the community, we really needed to sit down and figure out how we can better give visibility to the work that we're currently trying to complete, as well as create an opportunity for not only our core, but also our contributor members to be able to participate in our project. So we spent a fair number of hours last week to organize our project board in a way that I think hopefully will make more sense to the folks that are on this call and others that might be listening in the future. We decided to use a product which is it's an overlay on top of GitHub, and it's called ZenHub. And essentially what this does is that, think of a JavaScript injection on top of GitHub that allows us to do some additional functionality. So if you're familiar with the project boards inside of GitHub, this is just an enhancement of that. It doesn't use the project board, but it's like their project board, but on steroids. And I think it really meets our needs without creating a lot of overhead, not only for the core, but also the contributors. And so the way that we've organized the project, and I'll give you the hierarchy, we've moved into a release cycle that is 4 weeks or a month long. Some of these terms that I'm using are loaded, and we don't particularly care for them, because they have multiple meanings. So I'll just try to share with you what they mean in our context. When you hear the word release, we're trying to identify a body of work to be accomplished within a period of time. That's all that means. Inside of that release, our projects and repos might release their individual pieces of software on a very frequent basis. It could be every other day, it could be every week. Some projects we might want to align to that monthly time frame because it just makes sense from an execution perspective. So please don't associate the release with a big bang at the end of the month. We're just trying to identify a body of work. As an example, you'll see that our monthly release for August encompasses this functionality. And so what we do is that we sit down as a team and we talk about the functionality and then start to break this down to individual issues. I'll talk more about the epics and what those mean in just a moment. We've also decided to move into a weekly cycle. We call it a milestone. Sometimes this is known as a sprint or an iteration. And so we'll build the milestones based upon the issues that are outstanding and the priority of those issues. So currently we're in week 30. We're in that particular iteration, and everything in the backlog does relate to the week 30 work. We also have an in progress column. Obviously, as we start work, we pull into the in progress. And then as a PR comes in or one is created, there is the code review column that will signify that this particular issue has a PR associated with it and it needs to be reviewed. Now, this board is available to anybody that has a GitHub account. I did share that inside of the agenda, so feel free to click on that. It will ask you for your GitHub username and allow ZenHub to be able to quote unquote log you in, but it doesn't require any sort of software to be installed. If you do decide to start utilizing this on a more frequent basis, we do recommend installing the ZenHub plugin for Firefox or Chrome, and it will give you this nice overlay as you're inside of GitHub. I talked about the monthly release. We're working on the concept of epics and issues. And epics, just think of an epic as something that takes multiple milestones or multiple iterations to complete. So when we bump into features like that or issues like that, we want to break them down and spread those over milestones. So you'll see an epic that is created to represent that. So fill orders, or return values from all transactions. Obviously, we have the monthly release epics. And when I click on these, you'll see as we scroll down, there are the different issues in the different stages, or as ZenHub says, the pipeline. So epics is a pipeline, Icebox is a pipeline, backlog is a pipeline, and so forth. So you get an idea of where the particular issues are at, and also you'll see an estimation on that particular issue. It's something you probably don't have to be concerned about as a contributor. If you do find that you're looking to enter a new issue, anybody using the link from what I think Phil posted on our ZenHub, on the ZenHub website, you're able to create an issue. Please do so. There is a template that's utilized. You can also do this from within GitHub as well. That option is still available. You just wouldn't see the overlay unless you have the plugin and you're a registered user on ZenHub. What else? Oh, our flow of work. So when we take a look at how we like to look at priorities on a daily basis, we first, we work 24/7 because we've got individuals across the world. And so what will typically happen is that we'll look at the code review column, because any work that's sitting there that can be accepted and then completed, we also like to get that done, not only for the contributors, but also sometimes these are associated with bounties. We use Gitcoin. And so, for example, you'll see on this particular issue 201, you see a bounty is attached. So we know someone is working on that is from GitHub. Obviously, we want to be very timely in the way of getting work completed and payouts. So we want to be very attentive to anything that might have a PR associated with it. The in progress column, we do ask that you put one issue at a time in. Sometimes it necessitates that another issue, you pull another issue in simply because you might be blocked on something that you're currently working on. And then, of course, in the backlog. In the backlog, we try to make sure this is a prioritized list of issues that can be pulled in. The reason why I share this with you is that as a contributor, if you're looking for something to work on or contribute to, sometimes getting a good idea of what's in flight and what's being prioritized in the current milestone, which is in the backlog column, will give you an idea of something that you might say, hey, I could contribute to that, and then reach out to one of us. Or we also have an open bounties column. There doesn't happen to be anything in there right now, but if there is something that we posted on Gitcoin that is available to be taken, you'll see that in the open bounties column or pipeline. There's also this Icebox. If you're curious about some of the things that are slated for the next iteration or milestone, that's where we're doing our refinement to figure out what's coming up. And then any new issues that anybody will enter goes into our new issues pipeline or column. So when you enter an issue, or any of us enter an issue, we'll leave that issue in the new issues column. And when we do our product planning and refinement, we'll decide, does that need to be put into the Icebox? Is it something that we need to pull into the backlog right away because it might be a bug and blocking some other functionality or causing something production to go haywire? So it's an ongoing refinement that we find ourselves in to make sure it fits into the right area and also a priority for that particular piece of work. Again, entering an issue, it's very simple. You'll click on the new issue button. You don't have to worry about the labels because those will be things that us as a core team will assign, but just putting your issue title, filling out as much information as possible is always very helpful for us. And then going and submitting the new issue once you're done. We are deprecating the old board, or actually it has been. So please use the new project board link that's been posted, not only here, but also in our agenda for this call. And that's it. So does anyone have any questions about the way that we're working, issues, our project, or about how this flow works inside of ZenHub? Great. Well, we appreciate being able to share this with you, and hopefully it'll give our community a better understanding of what's currently in progress. What is some of the feature functionality that's coming up in this current release and future releases. And if you want to see a more of a higher level meta view of the roadmap, that's on the website. This tool is not intended to give you that view. This is a much more short-term view on a monthly basis of what the team plans to complete. And of course, if you have any comments on the higher level roadmap and overview, feel free to reach out to us on Discord.